Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Foreign Takes after our little break. Boys, welcome back. How's it been?
Was living the life?
Yeah,
Lots to talk about.
Yeah, a
yeah.
lot happened. International break, an election, an earthquake, a hurricane. What else? What did I miss?
Where was an earthquake?
I don't know. Probably somewhere in the world.
Man
Let's jump
City
into the
losing
football.
five in a row.
Yeah, that's the topic we want to discuss.
Are we starting? All right, let's go right into it. Manchester City 0, Spurs 4, fifth loss in a row. His first time ever losing five, three lost in the league. Is this real life?
Yes, this is what happens when you start sniffing your own uh, bald head wax and think
Oh my
you're the
god!
best of all time. I mean, it's we said it right. Rodri is so important. Without him, like their win percentage goes down significantly. And this time, they like others weren't able to manage it. Even at the start of the season, remember they were winning a lot of games very closely with like one Haaland goal. And if you look at the Spurs game, Haaland just had a bad game. He missed a lot of chances he should have taken, and that was in the end that was like a huge difference maker.
Stay humble. Stay humble.
I mean, the truth is, they could have equalized. They could have scored, right? Like Haaland
Yeah.
had what, five, six chances. Like
Yep.
there are other games. I think I remember the Fulham game and the Wolves game where they deserve to lose those games more than they deserve to lose this. But they started off great, right? I think we can admit that. The first 10 minutes, they were dominating. But as soon as Spurs got a handle on the game and exposed the counterattack, there was so much space to counterattack into. I mean, it was over. Like the first goal, the booze from the first
Yeah,
goal, that's when I
Yeah.
realized this game is over.
Yeah.
and I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, the first moments of the game, as you mentioned, they were all over the Spurs. But it seemed like as soon as Spurs got that one goal, their confidence, whatever they had, was gone. City wasn't the same anymore. It didn't look like a City team that would come back and score. Like, they will score two. And once they conceded the second, I think everyone wrote them off. And it's because of Pep. It's because of Pep. He
It
tinkered. His third DM option that he bought for 60 million didn't work out. Oh no. Aren't you
Yeah,
a genius, my friend?
nowhere to be seen. Why is
Yeah.
Rico Lewis starting there? Guardiola looked like he never played a minute in defense in his life. When before City he was a star center back.
Yep.
So the
I mean,
chickens came home to
Didn't
roost.
you
on
hear? Didn't you hear? Guardiola was the best left back in the Premier League system. So I think you missed that memo.
I mean, on the flip side, though, we have to give credit to Spurs, right? This was not just Man City sucking. This was Spurs. This was the perfect execution of Big Ange's tactics. Is that fair to
Mm-hmm.
say?
It's fair to
Kulusevski was
say,
massive.
yeah.
Incredible.
But with Spurs, it's the same thing always. Like they play their way, and if the score was reversed, they would have probably been, or the game was reversed the way it went. Probably would have ended 8-0 to City. Like if City was up their game because the risks that Spurs take, and then you come back to the same narrative. It should Ange adjust to the game? Should he adjust his gameplay? Because we've seen that they Spursily fall apart against Brighton when they were 2-0 up. So that could have also happened.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing, like, just moving, I want to talk a little bit about future as well for Spurs. It's worrying, right? Because they have, I think, two games a week for essentially the rest of the year. They're missing Van de Ven already. They're missing Romero. And today, their goalie was ruled out. Apparently, he had a fractured ankle. The injury he had in he was limping?
Yeah.
It turned out to be a fractured ankle. So he's out for the rest of the season as well.
Oh,
I mean,
jeez.
this is going to catch up to them, right? Like, it's already happening
Mm-hmm.
to all the teams, but Spurs look already super thin. I feel like they're not going to have much left after this game now.
And with that, they still beat City for Nolan City just didn't have Rodri.
Yeah. I mean, even City, you saw Kevin De Bruyne kind of back, but they're not on it, right, this year. They just don't look like, I mean, they could always turn it on. We've seen them do this too many times in the second half of the season.
I mean, Whitey, you shouldn't be worried. Arsenal's not going to win the league anyways. I think Bigelow should be more worried. You bottled your chance. You just
We
did.
might as well talk about it. Like, this was Arsenal obviously beat Nottingham Forest 3-0. I mean, we were texting, but this felt he made some big decisions. He dropped Havertz, he dropped Martinelli, he dropped Partey. He like made some big, and it felt like the biggest difference is obviously Odegaard. He's the difference maker, but this felt like the Arsenal of last season, not the Arsenal from the first 10 games of this season. I feel like he learned something about for over this international break, but we're 7 points behind already.
Oh, he learned something he should have learned last year, that you cannot constantly rely on Havertz. Come on,
And
like,
corners. I think the big thing is just
corners.
like Jesus is so much more dynamic. He like just does so much work. If his finishing, but this is the thing we've said about Jesus, right? For 8 years, if his finishing was a little bit better, he'd be a top tier striker. But he's never going to be there. So kind of
So you mean to tell me that you should have spent 60 million not on Havertz but a proper striker? Sounded like that
uh,
me and Big Lev were screaming
hey,
for the
listen, I
past.
agree too, but at this stage, I mean, the big thing is like Arsenal just needs to keep going now. Like, don't drop the ball, keep pushing, because at some stage, Liverpool can't keep winning every game, right? So I guess we might as well talk about Liverpool. Beat Southampton, I think away. Southampton 2, Liverpool 3. Once again, Mo Salah coming clutch, but I don't know. It felt like Southampton did all the right things, and I was still texting in the group chat that Liverpool would still win it. Like there was no chance Liverpool was losing this. Is that there? That's the feeling I had. I don't know if you guys had the
I
same
mean,
feeling.
This
the two goals were mistakes from Southampton. So I don't think that Southampton made everything right. Their goalies, like the two goals they conceded, were
I mean, he's an
goalie
idiotic
mistakes.
goalie. We can
I
admit he's not
mean,
even a
so
championship level goalie.
they didn't do everything right. But yeah, Big Lev, go ahead, sir.
this Liverpool was different from the Liverpool of this season that has been super assured in defense. This was calamitous that was more in line with like how Liverpool looked under Klopp. Very like high energy, go go go, but crazy things happen all the time. So I'm hoping this was just a blip and not, because it's crazy to concede 2 goals to Southampton that only scored 7 goals entire season.
I mean,
Uh,
Konate is. We were chatting in the group chat, but I have never seen such a Jekyll and Hyde. 10
yeah.
minutes of incredible defending, followed by
Well,
2 minutes of just brainless activity.
if you watch Liverpool games, you know he's capable of that. I think what's happening right now this season is Andy Robertson has dropped off significantly compared to when he was the best left back in the league. So there's a lot. If there's a lot of wing action on that side, then usually like he cannot cover that well as he used to.
What about
But
the middle?
Mill, like this game didn't look great. What was the number 32 of Southampton? Just ran. He meant that kid Diddler or Diddley or whatever his name was.
Diddler.
Those two were on top of their game. So I hope that kind of Garba has been a massive this season. So let's hope he gets back to it. And also we're missing the McAllister of last season, man. He has
Yeah,
been nowhere near the same level.
even like this game, I think he played 20 minutes or so. He just
Yeah.
doesn't feel like he has that edge, that spark. It's just missing, right? He just looks dull. I don't know how else to explain it.
I think he's tired from the Copa America
Yeah,
and
but
he needs to just get into it.
the one thing that was very exciting is there is something about Nunez when he's there. Even when he doesn't score, his chaos factor, especially for Salah,
Yeah.
I feel like Nunez unlocks Salah for some reason. I don't know what it is about the combination, but Nunez is the unknown factor. I feel like in the team constantly.
Mm-hmm. But Salah, what a man, bro. And here's where my frustration with English media comes in. So he came out, he said, "Oh, I still don't have the contract." And then today, all those fucking pundits came up. It's like, "Oh, Salah is so selfish. He like aired out the dirty laundry." It's like, hey, fuck Liverpool owners. They have plenty of time to get this contract done. He's by far our best player. Amazing season. He should be able to complain if he wants to complain and apply pressure. I don't love how there's like this cabal of people that like want to silence Harry. You know.
I mean,
Uh,
Not
he's
only
earned it,
that,
right?
not only that, he's earned it, but not only that, if it was Trent, it would be a different reaction. And Trent
fuck.
also doesn't have a contract, but if he came out and said it, that cabal would be like, he has
Oh
the right to
yeah,
know.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I
I
mean.
mean, at this stage though, from the three of them, it does look like VVD. I think already has a contract offer. He'll probably resign. Trent, his head is already turned. I think it's fair to say he looks like he's already halfway to Real Madrid with his buddy Jude Bellingham. But if you're Liverpool, you have to cough up the money, right? You have
You
to.
have to. Trent is nothing. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, I know there's Trent Flowers out there. He's good, but he's already replaced. We already have a player that can take his spot. It will probably be a drop off attacking wise, but more solid defensively. Salah, there's no way you can replace him right now. Of course, there have been players in the past who said you can never replace them, but he's still at the top of his game and he wants to stay. So
And
why create this
even
problem?
even at 32, he doesn't look like the player who relies so much on like physicality. It's as much about the quality of his play,
Yeah,
right? I feel like he'll age well. He's not gonna suddenly have a drop off and go like Casemiro style from
yeah.
100 to 0.
And look, he's taking care of himself. I mean, Ronaldo has on top of his game until he was 35. He can definitely play
Still
another
on top
two
of his
years.
game. Don't make
Yeah, in Saudi Arabia. Okay.
don't make little kids angry. They will spam you for
Yeah,
saying
they
that
will spam us.
Ronaldo.
If you're Liverpool, though, what do you do? If you're Salah in Liverpool, do you try to resolve the contract now, get him re-signed, or do you wait till the end of the season and see how well you do, like Premier League and Champions League?
No, in January he can sign for another team in Europe.
So you try to
You
sign
can't.
up now.
You have a month. That's it.
So I
Yeah.
mean, if you're him though, if you're in Salah's shoe, do you prefer to resign or do you just say, you know what, they'll come back to me and offer? I might as well just say wait a month and see what happens in case Real Madrid or whoever comes calling, or do
I
you
No,
don't think
I
just
Real
mean
try to
Madrid
stay?
will come.
he's not gonna get like significantly more money. He's already being paid 350K a week. So,
Yeah, he's a top
and
earner.
he's like settled in. He has limited amount of time left to make a big impact. So, if he wins Premier League this year and he can snag another Champions League, like legend for centuries.
Yeah, I mean he's already earned legend status. Is that fair to say
Yeah.
in
But
Liverpool?
he can build onto it even more, where he's in the same conversation as Kenny Dalglish.
He's
Yeah.
he's
I mean,
he's
he's
quite
already.
close. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It's like we're talking like top five all time is the level we've reached with Salah, but yet
Yeah.
he's just not talked about outside of the Liverpool fans. It's crazy.
Because
It is the bias. You guys are right. It's the English
it is
media
a bias.
bias.
Here's a question for Big Liv. You know that there's a midfield weakness right now in Liverpool. You're this close to winning, not this close, but you have a cushion to win the Premier League. Do you go and spend in January? Not on Salah, not. I mean, you resign Salah obviously, but if it was between the both, or resigning Salah and not signing anyone, or signing someone in January right now and telling Salah wait till the end of the season, we're going to spend right now on our squad. We didn't spend much. Kiesa's useless. I mean, has Chiesa even kicked the ball in the Premier League? I don't know, but uh,
Oh,
Chiesa,
Chiesa. Oh
we've
yeah, I
all
forgot
forgotten
we
about him.
even had him.
yeah,
What
that's
the hell is Chiesa?
yeah. So, do you spend like if you have a limited amount of money, do you go and spend on your midfield in January?
No, like Salah has to be a priority.
Yeah, I agree
You're
because you can
Because
cover
I
it,
mean
right.
the midfield looks fine. I know we're like one or two injuries away, but I think a couple of other our midfielders like McAllister and Soboslai, who at different points last season were had like really good um, series of games. If they can kick off, we can take this till the end. If you have Salah who's signing for another team in January, that that disturbance that will bring is gonna be much worse for the team.
Yeah,
But what
I
if
mean,
it's separate things? You either spend in January but won't spend in the summer. Would you
No,
essentially
yeah,
want your club
I
to
would
spend?
100% spend. If there is someone like it's crazy that we didn't spend at all during
Yeah,
the summer, and we are lucky to be in the position. Of course, yeah, if you can add
yeah,
quality.
yeah,
yeah. I think
it's a
City's
nice
gonna.
opportunity, right, for Liverpool.
Yeah,
It's an amazing opportunity. Liverpool, City's weak, Arsenal's useless. You guys have a 8 point lead. You might as well go for it.
I
Yeah,
think City's gonna
we're
buy
like
someone.
on top of the table in Champions League too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like
I
you
mean
can
it's
take your gas foot off the gas pedal there in like December.
yeah, and you don't have Allison, which is crazy to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
yeah.
how well the team has been doing. I think just to move on to one other team I want to touch on today, of course, Ipswich Town won, United won. Ruben Amorim is finally there. We saw a 3-4-3 formation or a 3-4-2-1 formation. His it's happening. It looked good for about 15 minutes, and then the old United. KG, is that a fair summary basically of this entire weekend?
It is a fair summary of the entire weekend, but you also have to give credit, not credit, but like a leeway to Amorim because he had
Oh,
two
100%.
training sessions with the squad, and he did select people based on readiness. Probably Casemiro and Eriksson didn't play much, but Casemiro and Eriksson just don't work in the midfield. The man was pissed. I think his demeanor and all the happiness that he had in his eyes were quickly blown up 15 minutes in. And it was further blown up. I don't know if you've seen when Ed Sheeran broke his interview on Sky Sports, and he was not very happy. They're like, "Oh, Ed Sheeran's here. I don't know if Ruben doesn't wants to talk to him." And he was like, "I don't want. I don't want to talk to you. I'm doing an analysis here." But yeah, I mean, same old, same old. It'll take some time to adjust. I just hope that this leads to United flushing out the players that are clearly not meant to play. Like I know Rashford has been a big scapegoat for this period, but for after this game, but I think Rashford is he's just not suited to play up top. And he started because I think he couldn't play on the wing back position.
Yep. Because there's no space for a real winger, right? Like
Yeah,
that's something we all have to agree. All the true wingers either leave or they adapt. There's no in between. He's not going to
yeah.
make space for them.
And I think the two wingers that could adapt are the young ones like Garnacho and Ahmad. And Ahmad played very well. I think Ahmad and Mazraoui. Ahmad Mazraoui and Onana, by the way, everyone, you deserve an apology. To Onana, he's been amazing
Incredible.
this season. He still concedes a shitty goal, but he's still way better than he was at the beginning. Mazraoui as well. What a bargain. For 15 million,
Yeah.
Mazraoui, what a bargain, my friend. He's
And
so
he's
good.
quiet. He's just doing the business, and there's no noise about him. Just doing the business.
And he's not getting mentioned, by the way. For if it was a British guy who they bought for 10 million, not British, anyone else for 10 million, not from Morocco. That's what I mean. He like Salah, they would not be overlooked. They would be
Yeah.
singing his praises. He's just ignored. But for 15 million, he's a great right back who can play center back. Just amazing. But I think the left side and the Rashford thing, it was just misbalanced, and he'll get it with time. We'll see what they do in midweek and then over the weekend, and then versus Arsenal is going to be a tough test for him. But I think he's the right man, at least for now. He's already better than Eric Ten Hag in the way he speaks and analyzes things.
Yeah. I
So
mean, the big thing is patience, right? Because he doesn't have training time. So it means he's going to be doing the experimentation during the games as well as the one or two training he gets between the games, which means it's going to be a season for adjustment. I'm
yeah,
curious if, like, the fans will give him the space to be like, yeah, it's not going to be pretty. There are games where it's going to not work out and it's going to look like shit, but the whole idea is to be building towards it.
no, I think the fan base is ready for whatever we have written off this season. If we don't win in a cup, it's completely fine. As long as we got the right man who does the right thing. From the looks of it, he seems like he's the right man that he can build a new structure. The only thing that what fans want is for consequences to come. Because if you look at Ten Hag's time at United, he started also with implementing his system. He tried at least. If you remember that Brentford game away when they got slapped 4-0, it was his system, playing out the back. He didn't have a DM. They brought in Casemiro. He solved that problem for a bit, and then his legs started to go. So he reverted back to this weird old style of play from United, playing with two defensive midfielders. He got slacked for playing with two defensive midfielders. At the end of the day, he got a hybrid. My point is, they got a hybrid version of Man United that was previously there, like a Mourinho Ole style of football with some sprinkles of Erik Ten Hag. And the players that was supposed to be removed didn't get removed. I would say even go as far as saying that the wrong players got removed, like Scott McTominay, who's a great player, good off the bench, but he's not suited to start. I would rather have kept him than sold him for 40 million. He's smashing in this area.
Perhaps top of the league.
Top of the league. I told you Conte is. If Conte comes to Arsenal, Arsenal's going to win the league. But yeah, my point is that I hope that now that open heart surgery happens, they get
Yeah.
rid of, like, if Rashford doesn't fit, get rid of him. There's no point in giving him a 300k for saying if Bruno's old and he's not good enough, get rid of him. Casemiro, Ericsson, their heart is not working. get rid of them, buy someone else. Like, don't keep them on for the sake of keeping them on.
Yeah,
If a new
agreed.
system requires new players, make that transition. That's the only thing that United fans are willing to wait for, as long as that happens, because that clearly didn't happen under Eric Ten Hag. He got investments, but he also didn't get investments. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
that makes
yeah.
sense. I mean, it's going to be interesting, right? Because basically, as of yesterday and today, I guess Newcastle played in West Ham. Every team is playing twice a week. It's a midweek Saturday until the first week of January.
Aren't you happy? I can see the smile on your face. So no more Malta versus Andorra.
Oh,
No more.
this was the worst year, I think, for international break. Is that fair to say? Because 3 of them in every 2 weeks has been the worst year by far.
See, if you look at the European Nations League, if you follow closely, if look at the matchups of Brazil, Belgium, or not Brazil, Belgium, Italy, France, whatever makes sense to you, and it's a good thing to tune in. The previous international break at least had some competition to it because they were competing for the first and second spots. But this one in November, half of them were done. There was
Of
no team,
course.
like people didn't play, like people, like it was just useless, completely useless.
Half of
Like,
the England squad didn't show up. What are you talking about? Also, I have no desire to watch San Marino Liechtenstein. Like, no one wants to watch that besides the 800 people of San Marino. Like, spare us with this bullshit. I mean, I guess the
yeah,
question for you guys is it essentially going to be survival of the fittest now? It's not about whether you have the best squad, it's about whether you have the healthiest squad for the next
I
month.
think
Is that
so.
fair to
I
say?
think so.
More than any other year, this next month is all
I
about can
mean,
you keep your players fit?
how many ACLs do we have already? How
Oh,
many
it's
players are
endless.
injured? It's just too much.
This is why Big Lev earlier was saying like, oh, if Gravenberg can stay healthy, but that's a problem, right? Every team is one injury away from basically falling apart. It feels like every single team. It happened to
No,
Arsenal. Odegaard got injured. We couldn't win for fucking three
oh my
weeks.
God! This is the first year you're having injuries. Okay,
No, agreed. I'm
Arsenal.
just saying
Yeah.
it just shows you how essential one player can be to completely collapsing the entire
No,
system.
that is 100% correct. That's always like that. And
That is
yeah,
100% on
Arsenal.
Harry Fraud because he had
Harry
time to
Fraud.
prepare.
No, no, agreed,
Yeah,
agreed. I think my point is
no,
like with all
he
the
got an
injuries and the World Cup and the extension, like essentially the next month is just going to be a bloodfest, right? Like
yeah.
every team. I mean, Spurs are completely toast. I think even I have to give them City are already missing a few. I mean, at this stage, it's just a question of how many more ACLs are we going to see in the next month.
With City, I'm like Fergie didn't lose five in a row. Okay, you bald fraud.
Did he
You
really ever
put
never
down.
lose five in a
Never,
row?
never, never. Greatness doesn't. He didn't even lose four in a row.
Did Klopp ever lose five in a row?
I don't think
Probably
so.
at Mines, like
No, no,
he
no.
had Mines.
No, no. Forget mine. Who gives a shit about mines? What
At
about at Liverpool?
Liverpool,
I
maybe
don't
his
think
first, but
so.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
wonder if Wenger ever lost five in a row.
I don't even know, but I know for sure that Fergie never, even with Aberdeen, he didn't lose five in a row or
Oh,
four in a row.
okay. With Alfred, we're gonna go back to 1951. I
I'm
mean,
gonna cry when he dies. I mean, that's soon. but,
yeah,
but
he's getting old. It's kind of sad to see. I mean, it's
oh,
just part of life.
this is part of life, unfortunately. Yeah, but my point with the ACLs and all that, and with injuries, even United, who when Van Nistelrooy was around, it seemed like the center backs are fully back. This midweek, also to give credit to Amorim, they only had Johnny Evans, who I feel bad for the guy because he was supposed to be this guy who came in like Tom Heaton.
Yeah,
He was supposed to be Tom Heaton for defense, but he actually plays every game. He was him and Delict were the only two fit center backs, and we have
yeah,
five of them. So the other three are still injured, and they
yeah.
were almost
I
fit.
mean, I have to say,
So
Johnny Evans deserved a yellow in the first twice in the first half. It was crazy that he did it. But that's actually a good point. You talking about center backs? Arsenal has what, seven fullbacks, six fullbacks, and we only had two of them fit this weekend, which is crazy. It shows you how many injuries there are.
there's too many injuries, and it's all because of too many games, and it's just corporate greed now, isn't football? I'm so
Yeah.
that's what it
Because
is.
of all the immigrants, man. They come here and they injure our hardworking players.
Hey, but did you hear some immigrants? Have you okay on a completely top and on a last topic so we can end. This new Club World Cup? Have you guys been keeping tabs on it about what's changing?
No.
I've seen that it
Is
wasn't.
it more games?
It's
Yeah,
more
it's
games,
Morgan.
Of course
and
it
the
is.
idea was it was supposed to be like either you were a champion or former champion because it's not supposed to be every year. So like the Champions League winner of this year and the previous year, but then they magically found a new spot for Inter Miami. They were
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, here's a special children," and they gave him. It was the most blatant money grab scheming shit I have ever seen from FIFA ever.
Yeah, I mean, of course. What did you expect? They needed Messi, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna select one team from the MLS. Who did they win the MLS? No. Did they win the cup? No.
No,
They're just special. They have a stadium that's special. I saw somewhere Javier Tebas. They asked him if free streaming of free games is possible, and it was like, yes. Why don't you ask for free bread, free eggs, free this? Of course, it's not possible. So it was just like, I mean, come on. The game that was built on fans is gonna die without fans
yeah, it's so
eventually.
sad. You know what's
Yeah,
funny about Inter Miami? I was reading that Javier Mascherano is about to be their manager
yep,
now.
yeah. Tato
What is this?
Martino left on his own accords.
Oh, did he? I mean,
Yeah,
this is literally, I don't even know what to call. This is the what's it called, the like, it's not, reality has been so warped that the joke has become reality. How can Javier Mascherano be their manager?
because he's good buddies with Messi, and he'll
Yeah, bro.
not.
You take care of
Yeah,
your own boys.
Bro,
yeah.
how can they afford to pay all these 39-year-old players? I don't understand.
They just trade their. They don't need picks, right? So
Dude, it's
you,
classic. It's Miami.
yeah,
It's all
yeah,
about flash. It's all
yeah.
about the appearance of wealth versus actual wealth.
They bought
Yeah.
their way through. You can
Yeah.
build a team like that. It's just you know who struggles in the system, and people, if Americans actually cared about developing their youth talent, that would not be allowed because their youth gets shafted essentially. There's no like proper American out of college that could play with Messi because all of their picks are now gone that they transferred them for a designated player pick, right? So their team is
Jesus.
full of internationals and they pass their picks on to other teams. So who is really winning? Not the youth, potential youth out of college in the US.
It's crazy.
Um,
I mean, it's an experiment, I guess. It seems to be working because they're sold. Those tickets are crazy. And you know what this crazy thing is? They're gonna come here to. Have you guys seen this? The new NYCFC, one of the city group
yep.
fucking teams, the Etihad Park. Oh, could you call it a worse name? Something about it just strikes me as disgusting. Like, because it didn't have a real name. You know, like, I don't know. What's a good example? Like, the new stadiums, at least in Europe, at least used to have names, and then you, like, the Camp Nou is now the Spotify Camp Nou, right? But at least it's the Camp Nou. It's Barcelona
Yeah.
Stadium. The fact that this is literally custom built for the city group is disgusting, honest. And they got a tax break of a
Okay.
billion
Of course.
Okay.
dollars.
Okay. Sell down their Emirates.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, at least we had Highbury, right? And I'm like, yeah, we expanded from that.
Okay,
The,
here's a question for you. If you don't like it so much, do you think now that Pep Guardiola signed on, City's not gonna get charged?
are we really gonna talk about this to end the night?
But he's
We
obvious
we can
not.
also do Donkey of the Week, Hero of the Week, but it's
No,
just
no, no. Okay.
my permanent donkey is the VARs and refs.
Oh, I would
There's
say the
no
same thing.
point.
Here's my take on the charge. He definitely has an escape clause. I'm telling you this right now. Like, if they get charged, it's not he's not going to stay for sure. He's just going to be like, it depends what happens, because they're suing the shit out of the Premier League right now, right? With even the stuff that they just lost, the other cases. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to lose the cases, but the thing that they're going to punish them with will be useless. So it'll be like, oh, you guys are going to get uh I don't know, no European spot for the upcoming season, or something where it won't actually impact the team, but it'll look like a fake punishment. I think
No,
that's what's going to happen.
I
Penalties are
feel
gonna
like
be
I
seen.
feel like there's something we are not being like he knows that they're gonna get away with it insofar where like they'll not even have to take a break of from transfer like they won't even get transfer banned for a year because he
Oh
now
God,
we needs to go and probably spend another $500 million.
Of
Yeah,
course, yeah. He's gonna. There's rumors that
he
he's gonna
just
buy
lost five in a
Zubimendi.
row.
Yeah,
Obviously doesn't have players.
he's
I
gonna
mean,
So
kill Feynorden tomorrow. He's gonna kill Feynorden, and he's gonna be like, "I'm back, baby. The genius is here."
I
No,
mean,
I think
at that stage, what do you? Okay, I have a question though. If they get free of all the charges, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna lose interest because it's Arsenal at the end of the day. I'm gonna keep following them, but it already feels like the competition is dying. Like, there's all this money is already
it
killing
is.
the game. I feel like my interest is basically gonna evaporate at that stage in terms
I mean,
of
at
competition.
least don't allow it going forward. Like say, okay, well, you did shady stuff, but you have to stop doing shady stuff. and
But
don't
they
Okay.
stopped
allow
doing
them to
shady
keep
stuff.
doing it. But
Their
like
argument
they're
is that they stopped it now. That's the
no,
point.
they're well, they're trying to push it through legally now. You know, they're like suing Premier League for the related party rule and how much financing can get from related parties.
Oh, and you know who supported that? Oh, the other teams from that region of the world, all the
No, but the
billionaires.
problem is that a lot of people,
No, the
a lot
other
of
big
billionaires
teams didn't
do it.
support that.
But a lot
Yeah,
of
no.
billionaires do it. But a lot of billionaires are now doing, like, if you look at what's it called, the Nottingham Forest Group, where Edu
Oh, yeah.
went, they have multiple teams. So a lot of teams are going to be interested in doing this related party
It
clauses
should be
because
banned,
it's not
right? In
only,
all
it should
honesty.
be banned overall because even United is owned by Nice, right? The same group that
Yeah.
owns Nice and United. And soon Fenway Group is going to do it and Arsenal's going to do it inevitably if is going to grow. So it should be banned, but I don't think it's going to be that opposed. So it's not going to be that shady,
Because this is
They don't
UEFA,
want
right? The problem is that UEFA should just say no more cross. Like you can't own more than one team. Period. Finished.
they're
Like
not going to do it.
I
They're
guess.
not.
I mean, something's gonna change because they're just choking the game. Let's be real here. There's just also I can't believe I'm gonna say this. There's been too many games. There are just way too many games that you kind of lose it, especially the Champions League. They ruined the Champions League. I think that's the conclusion I've come to is that the Champions League has been ruined
I mean, it's not interesting at all. The
at all.
Champions. I mean, we're not in it, but it's not interesting. And the Europa League is boring too.
Yeah, it's
Like
the
the
same
Europa
thing.
League was interesting. It's just expanded, boring. The playoffs are going
Exactly.
to be
I
boring. It's
mean,
just
who needs a 64 team World Cup? That stage, the whole world is already playing. This is my anyway. My hot take for the night before we wrap up is that we should reduce all the competitions by half. If it's a 32 competition, it should be 16. If it's 64, bring it down to 32. That makes it way more interesting.
next thing you're going to tell me. Let's the Champions League be for the champions zone.
Oh, whoa!
like
Yeah,
What is this
like
amazing idea?
yeah,
I think it's somewhere in the '90s. Someone proposed it.
guys.
All right, listeners, I think this is where we're beginning to lose it. But boys, we're gonna be back this upcoming weekend. It's gonna be a lot of games. It's gonna be fast and furious, and we're in for a very hectic December. Good
I
night, and see
got
you
all
next
my
week.
sisters with me.
See you next week.